Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. The Brutalist. 2024, Brady Corbett. This film follows a man by the name of Laszlo Toth. Fleeing Hungary during World War II, Laszlo relocates to America. Specifically, Laszlo ends up in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, that area to be specific. Struggling to get by, Laszlo's fortunes change when he comes into contact with a businessman named Harry Van Buren. Offered the chance to ply his trade as an architect, Laszlo happily signs on to design a community center outside of Philly. Having been reunited with his wife and niece, Laszlo seems to be on top of the world, but mounting issues in his life soon make his time in America a laborious challenge, one that he must overcome before it consumes him. This film had an intermission, like an honest-to-God intermission. It was at that moment I fell in love with the film. I only partially jest, because my ass was thanking this film for that. In all seriousness, though, this film was great. Director Brady Corbett just showed up and showed out for this film, and I was all for it. Beginning with an overture similar to the films of Lars von Trier, we are treated to almost every element of the film that makes it so beautiful. The cinematography in this section is so unique. It flows with the action, and in this particular part was incredibly claustrophobic. Before the claustrophobia, we are treated to these superimposed pieces of footage of Laszlo's wife being interrogated, the shots bleeding into each other. When the camera allows us to breathe, we see this upside-down shot of the Statue of Liberty, a stark, guerrilla, and beautiful way to present this man's arrival to America. We are also treated to the main motif of the film's score. A droning string section builds and builds until we get these triumphant horns blaring as the Statue of Liberty comes into view. Entering the film proper, Corbett and his team do not let up an inch. Tightly edited sequences and that beautiful flowing cinematography are prevalent throughout. Most notable in the film proper is the switching of aspect ratios. Going from a slightly less than widescreen aspect ratio to 4:3 or 1:1, I'm not sure which, in order to show old footage. It was really cool. It was especially cool at the end, as it felt like we were seeing a home movie of this architecture shindig. Driving sequences were made riveting by the use of this shot of the road flying underneath the car. The angles found in every scene are just beautiful, and the blocking allowed each actor to ply his trade beautifully. The natural lighting made certain scenes pop when either lit in a dim haze or ominous when cast in shadow. The music often variates on that main motif, arranging it with just pianos or adding in more chaotic sounding horns and reeds. Both the score and the soundtrack revel in the jazz, big band, and general popular music of the era. There are so many top-tier fucking bangers throughout the film that enveloped you in this time period. When we hit the epilogue, we are greeted to some synth music that comes off as a shock to the system after what we heard earlier, but it fits the time period of that particular section of the film. This is especially so at the credits, when an Italian disco banger called One For You, One For Me starts blasting. It's an interesting choice, but the song was a bop, and it provided a nice contrast from what we had been experiencing. The writing gives us your tried and true deconstruction of the American dream, but that is far from an indictment, as this was a hell of a version of that tale. Laszlo Toth escapes from one hell and in a way is just thrown into another. He struggles to make ends meet when he gets to the USA, with even his own family leaving him to fend for himself when it didn't suit them. But even when he seemingly succeeded, he was still being exploited by the powers greater than himself. Harry Van Buren abuses and exploits Laszlo's talent and desperation in many ways, some more sick than others. Addiction, greed, and temptation all ravage Laszlo's family until he says, no more. Our ending is one that I feel will have people talking and maybe even divide audiences. The ending seems to center around a spin on a classic phrase, one that is said by Laszlo's niece. It is not about the journey, it is about the destination. In my eyes, Laszlo lived through hell, but he came out of it with everything he could want. In his old age, wheelchair-ridden and probably senile, we are maybe made to forget about that hell because he has accomplished so much. A revered artist in his field, Laszlo will always be remembered as that, and we as an audience know that. Harry Van Buren? He just sort of fucks off, and we don't know what happened to him. We often forget about what people go through to be a success in the world we live in. The world seemed at that point to not know or ignore what Laszlo went through to be that revered artist who was being celebrated in the 80s. While it is good to focus on accomplishments, we must never forget where we came from and what it took to get to where we wanted to be. Our two leading men here are Oscar-bound in my eyes. Adrien Brody absolutely fucking crushes it as Laszlo Toth. Reminding me so much of his incredible performance in The Pianist, Laszlo is that humble and unsure immigrant at first, but deeper into the film we are treated to such dynamic emotions and powerful displays of pain and anger. To foil him, we have Guy Pearce as Harry Van Buren. Man, I'm fucking pulling for Guy to win Best Supporting Actor. He was a goddamn powerhouse in this film. Playing this suave and charismatic southern businessman, he turns into this cold villain so easily at the end. It was incredible. Felicity Jones channels that same sort of power that Adrien Brody was channeling, and her dynamic and subtle emotional displays were unbelievable. I know everyone is going to talk about her calling the evil businessman a rapist, and that scene is great. But it was the first scene in bed between her and Brody when they reunited that wowed me. Absolutely fucking stunning in that scene. Brody, Pearce, and Jones are supported by the likes of Raffy Cassidy, Joe Alwyn, Isaac DeBancole, and other fantastic actors. This script was brought to life in the best way possible, I must say. So yeah, I got to enjoy a 3+ hour feature and my bum wasn't sore. On top of that, The Brutalist fucking slapped. My first Brady Corbett joint really sold me on how good this director is, and I look forward to finally getting to fucking Vox Lux. I'll probably be talking about that soon, and also checking out what he will come up with next after this one. Definitely a favorite of 2024, and one I look forward to revisiting in the future. Highly recommended. And I am feeling a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10 on this one. We'll see where it lands on second viewing. Catch you later, guys.